Hello, thank you so much for being here. I am creating these videos just for my Chicanas and Latinas, Latinos, and anyone who speaks Spanish or Spanglish. I've noticed that when it comes to studying for the LCSW, there is material that obviously it's understandable, it's in English, right? But I wanted to give it a twist to be able to kind of help our community. I did come across a video that stated that the LCSW exam through the BPS, um, there's a lot of higher percentage rate of white women passing the exam versus people of color. And I was like, hey, that's not fair. So, because I'm in Podemos and we can pass this test, it's taken me a while though, I have to be honest. So I decided to be creative and decided to create these videos that are in Spanglish and kind of maybe something that can click in our language. So today we're going to start with personality disorders. So let me read to you what personality disorders is. Patterns of relating to and understanding others that are so maladaptive, inflexible, and deeply ingrained that they produce significant social impairment. Personality disorders are usually recognizable in one's adolescence but also typically diagnosed in adulthood. So when we think of personality disorders, son las personas que tienen esas maneras de ser, de personalidad como muy exageradas o personas que se aislean, people who are just like have this personality issues. And obviously, as therapists, we want to be able to provide them the support to live a very, good life with their diagnosis and for them to be able to learn about themselves. So we're going to start off with the odd and eccentric behavior. Paranoid personality disorder. Esa persona que está paranoica, que, ay, me está persiguiendo la policía, ¿qué está pasando? Non-delusional paranoia. Unjustified doubts, misreading harmless remarks or events. Quick reactions of anger, se cabronan. Holding grudges, they hold resentment. Expectation of being exploited, unjustified questions like, are you cheating on me? So if you've ever had a boyfriend or girlfriend and they're always like, like, are you always cheating on me? And it's a very excessive, it's very odd and eccentric behavior. So remember paranoid personality disorder? Just think of that ex-boyfriend que siempre estaba todo celoso, or the ex-girlfriend that was very celosa and always kind of like fidelity, like that you're always cheating. So that fidelity of a partner, always thinking that you're cheating, okay? So paranoid personality disorder. Así me imagino una persona bien insegura. Paranoid personality disorder. Schizoid personality disorder. Detachment from social relationships. Preference for being alone. Les gusta ser solos. Les gusta. Es algo que ellos prefieren, okay? So they are more of a loner but not necessarily feel lonely as this is their preference. No les importa, les vale. Restricted range of effect, lack of close friends, flat affect, la cara así nomás, sin ganas, nada, emotionally cold, como dicen como amargados, amargadas, lack of desire for relationships, lack of sexual desire, indifference to opinion of others, and lack of pleasure in activities. So schizoid, S-C-H-I-Z as in zebra, O-I-D. Just think of the id, the ID. The identity of this person is to be a loner. That's how I identify this. Schizoid personality disorder. Just think of Z-O-I-D, the ID, identity of this person. They like to be alone. Quieren estar solos y que nadie los moleste. Schizotypal personality disorder, inappropriate or constricted affect, irrational belief, magical thinking, ideas of reference, extreme social anxiety, unusual perceptual experiences like illusions, lack of close friends, paranoid ideation, and eccentric appearance. So there's like a lot of that magical thinking, como diciendo, excuse me, como diciendo, ay, es el de la telenovela, está enamorado de mí. Cada vez que voltea a ver la cámara, me está viendo a mí. I mean, it's so like, what? Like it doesn't make any sense. So I think of schizotypal personality disorder. I always try to look at the word and it's the pal, right? Like that pal likes to be like odd because he thinks que el de la novela, Eduardo Capetillo, le gusta. Something like that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. So that was the odd eccentric behavior under personality disorders, which is paranoid personality disorder, schizoid identity of that person likes to be alone, and schizotypal personality disorder. And that pal is imagining the weirdest thing. Okay, all right. These here, hopefully, I'm able to plug them in here for you. All right, now we're going to go to the next section dramatic erratic behavior. Histrionic personality disorder. I've met a lot of people, some people with this. So I just think of them and I just attach it. So think of someone who has this because this is pretty common. So histrionic personality disorder, constant demands for approval, praise, exaggeration of emotion, discomfort when not the center of attention, sexual seductiveness, like that one like female, because it can happen in males, but like that female that just like is always like, she se para así como sacándolas, you know what, and just kind of walking like that. That's what it is. Use of physical appearance to draw attention. They want to be the center of the attention. Anytime you talk to them, their story is always better than yours. Content of speech lacking detail, suggestibility, rapid shifting, and shallow expression of emotions. Like si tú le dices algo así que de corazón, there's like, yeah, so the other day I went to the mall and oh my God, kind of like that. Okay. Believe the relationships are more intimate than they really are. So that person is going to also think like, oh my God, you're like my best friend. And you're like, we have not even hanged out like together. ¿Qué piensas? ¿Qué traes? View of themselves as glamorous and impressive. Like everywhere they go, they think that they're just like making an impression. Así bien exageradas, como dicen nuestras madres. So that's histrionic personality disorder, la exagerada, que quiere atención y que le quiere quitar uno a la comadre. Kind of like that. All right. Now, second, remember, this is dramatic erratic behavior. Narcissistic personality disorder. Sense of entitlement, believe rules don't apply to them. Using others for personal gain. Grandiosity, como que acá bien de la high y toda la cosa. Believe that they are special, unique, need for excessive admiration, lack of empathy, envious of others, and believes that others are envious of them, fantasizes of success, power, love, and arrogance. This one, esa ya la sabemos. Conocemos a muchas personas con eso. All right, let's go to the next one. Borderline personality disorder. Unstable relationships, alternation between idolization and devaluation. Good object, bad object. Push and pull. Feelings of emptiness, mood reactive, angry outbursts, followed by shame and guilt. Impulsivity that is self-damaging, avoidance of abandonment, real or perceived. Suicidal threats, like, borderline personality disorders are people that are just always going to be like, si me dejas, me mato. Like, me mato. And it's like self-mutilating behaviors, identity disturbance, transient paranoia, and dissociation. So that one's pretty like as therapists, because I've come across people who have borderline personality disorders, it's just very obvious. También con narcissistic and histrionic. Those are pretty obvious. All right. Antisocial personality disorder. Frequent physical fights or assaults, irresponsibility, deceitfulness, recklessness for safety. Les vale. They'll drive crazy at the cost of like crashing into somebody. Impulsive behavior, lack of remorse. Oh, I crashed. Oh, okay. Like what? Disregard, excuse me. Disregard for and violate the rights of others. So antisocial personality disorder, they lack so much empathy that they just like they're so irresponsible. Son los que como dices, se encabronan, they get really mad, um, and they just don't care of the outcome of their own lives and others. All right. So I just read to you a list of dramatic, erratic behavior: histrionic personality disorder, narcissistic personality disorder, borderline disorder, and antisocial personality disorder. So, yes, they're very dramatic. So the one that out of these, that's how I see it, is that antisocial personality disorders are the ones that they don't care for law, right? No les importa if they just are always breaking the law. Um, and kind of like you having a, whenever you see a diagnosis, I highly suggest for you to like think of someone that you know that you can attach it because that helps me. Not that I know everyone, a lot of people with the different diagnoses, but when it comes to dramatic erratic behavior, that for sure I have people I can put up there. All right. Anxious and fearful behavior. Okay, so this is avoidant personality disorder. Fear of being ridiculed, social inhibition, poor self-image, preoccupation with being criticized or rejected in social situations, avoidance of new activities, reluctance to take personal risk, como que le dan miedo, they're just very avoidant, restraint in intimate relationships, desire for social relationships, feelings of loneliness. So the avoidant personality disorder is a type that they desire, like quieren estar con la gente, pero tienen tanta inseguridad that they feel like if that person's staring at me, they're just like thinking like the worst out of me. They fear being judged, right, and criticized. Well, kind of the same thing. So avoidant personality disorder avoids to go out in public. Sorry if I keep touching my hair. I feel like I have it on my face. All right, the next one. Dependent personality disorder. Need for excessive advice, reassurance. Need for others to assume responsibility. Difficulty doing things independently. Lack of self-confidence. Going to great lengths to be nurtured, supported. Feelings of hopelessness. Moving from one relationship to the next to receive care and support. Difficulty disagreeing with others. Need for approval. Preoccupation with being left to take care of oneself. This is what we see in those adults that are just like, no, yo no puedo ir a pagar el bill de la luz, tú ve, págalo. Bájate y pídele a la señora que te dé una libra de tortillas. You know what I'm saying? Like that person is so insecure and they just want everyone else to do things for them and they always have to be with someone. So that's just think of that. Obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Okay. Pre uh, Preoccupation with details, rules, lists, or organizations, perfectionism, stubbornness, insistence that others do things their way, very controlling, overly conservative with money, excessive devotion to work, bien trabajadores, or productive, reluctance to delegate to others, inflexibility around morals, ethic, values, etc., difficulty throwing things out, even when useless, of lacking or sentimental value. So the obsessive compulsive personality disorder, OCPD, not OCD, OCPD. That personality that's just very like just it has to be so like perfect in detail. The obsessive compulsive disorder, on the other hand, OCD, is someone who washes their hands like 10, 20 times because if they don't do it, they feel like they're going to die. So that's the big difference. And many people who are actually very detailed in rules and lists and organization, they give themselves the wrong diagnosis and they'll say OCD, which is wrong. It's OCPD. So this is all. Gracias por venir. And I hope that we all can learn from this video personality disorders. And every little section of learning the LCSW exam, you would seriously like don't move into it. Excuse me, don't move into a different section without you understanding the one you just reviewed. So gracias. This is La Chicana Therapist, and we all can get licensed. Cuídense mucho. Adiós.